Welcome to Searching for the Question Live. My name is David Orban, and I am welcome you to our various channels. We are streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. And since we are live, you can ask questions, make comments, and I will be able to pick the relevant ones and answer with my guest. You can, of course, also subscribe to the YouTube channel and set it so that you can be alerted when we are live next time. We also have a community on davidorban.com/discord where we are continuing the conversation around the topics of Searching for the Question Live, how technology is impacting society and transforming our lives, but also communities and society at large, and how we have to be able to understand these trends that are unstoppable and that can be leveraged by those of us who are alert and who want to understand the world as it is becoming. And if you like the content that together with my team I create, I invite you to become a fan, a supporter, a sponsor, or a benefactor on patreon.com/David Orban. Today, we are talking about the energy sector, which is fundamental for the flourishing of the human civilization. It has been the power, literally, behind the growth of the 20th century. The oil sector, the hydrocarbon economy. However, it has also been the case that we started to understand its unsustainability. And with great effort and research and applied development and engineering, we have been able to start building alternatives of renewable, sustainable energy sources. Are these going to be able to power the 21st century? Can we rely on them to not only match, but hopefully exceed what the 20th century provided? Can we build more inclusive, more equitable, and more resilient societies? So today's guest is Ernesto Ciorra, who is the Chief Innovability Officer at Enel. Enel is an Italian multinational energy company at about $80 billion of market cap. Certainly, it carries weight, and it has the ability to not only maintain a status quo, but also to think about what comes next. So, Ernesto, welcome to Searching for the Question Live.
Hi, David. Hi, everybody, and thanks, David, for inviting me here at this very interesting format.
So you are based in Rome. How are things in Rome with regards to the pandemic and everything?
I'm now based in Fregene, that is 20 kilometers from Rome, very close to the beach, and here is definitely a little bit better.
Good wine.
Yes, good wine, spaghetti with telline, and we can have nice food, nice wine. But obviously, we must take care because going outside is a little bit a nightmare, and always wearing a mask and keeping the social distancing, and it's very hard time because a lot of people have died, and we know that that other people are dying, and that are 1,000 people are at the hospitals. So all around Italy, suffering for COVID, and other people are at home suffering for COVID. So okay, I always try to love or to smile to the life, but it's a sad period.
Yeah, very, very complex. So tell us to start a little bit of your path. How did you end up where you are?
Yeah, I started as I took a graduation at Bocconi University 25 years ago, on marketing and business administration. After I've joined a small consulting company who asked me to support a customer that was very, very, very small. The customer was Telecom Italia Divisione Servizi Radiomobili. So before that Telecom Italia Mobile started, it was a small team dedicated to launch into the market the Telecom Italia Mobile business, the wireless business in Italy. And at that time, many analysts said no one will use the mobile phones. And if you look at the 10 years plan provided by a very, very famous consulting company, they estimated 670,000 people as users in the year 2000 as mobile phone users. So just only 607,000 mobile users. So the reality was 22 million. So if you compare their analysis with the reality, you can understand that it was a bad analysis. But why could it happen? Because they make the analysis according to the usage of the mobile phones in United States. And in the United States at that time, the users of a mobile phone had to pay when they received a phone call. In Italy, we changed the rules. We have invented in Italy the prepaid phone service, and you haven't to pay anything when you receive the phone call. So changing the rules, we opened up a new market, and from United States, they've copied the Italian case, the Italian new rules. So it was a very interesting experience for me, because I understood that not following the leaders could be an interesting option. In some cases, could be an innovative option. And the leaders were considered the Americans, but at that time, the Americans weren't real leaders. They just were the first ones to move into this sector. And after this, after some years as consultant, I founded my own consulting firm. In the year 2003, I founded Inventio, that was a consulting company focused only on supporting big companies on innovation management. At that time, in the year 2003, in Italy, unfortunately, there weren't people in companies very interested on the topic of innovation. So I had to move to Finland, where I supported the Nokia mobile phones. I moved to France, where I worked with several companies, and I moved to Spain, where the interest on innovation was definitely higher rather than in Italy. After some years, I merged my consulting company with another rising consulting company, BIP, Business Integration Partners. And after having worked as CEO of Inventio with some innovative partners and friends like David Orban, who I asked several times to join me in Inventio. And we were pioneers, because in Italy, there weren't so many consultants and people supporting companies only on innovation. And after some years, I decided to sell the shares that I had, because a fund came and they said, okay, do you want to stay here for other years, or do you want to sell? And after I agreed with the other founders of BIP that it was the time to leave. I hadn't any real option in front of me, but I say, hey, I need a change. So I sold the shares, and I stayed for 3 months in this house in Fregene, and people were calling me and say, oh, I'm very sad for you, because you have founded this company, now you haven't this company. And you were living for this company, but now you can't also work for this company. And I asked them, hey, where are you? They were replying to me, I am at the office. I say, I'm sad for you. I'm in front of the beach. I'm getting tanning. I'm swimming. So I would prefer to stay at home rather than being at the office. I was joking, obviously, but it's interesting to note that on those days, since 2003 till 2014, I was for the 90% of my time having a smart working. So I was working from home, and my colleagues were working from home. We met when we had to ideate new concepts, new models, or when we had to make a party. But we didn't meet just for working, because working could be done being at home, and the technologies were were ready at that time, and they are ready still, obviously today too. And after 3 months, I have sent some emails, obviously, to former customers of mine. One of them was Francesco Starace, the actual CEO of Enel. And I written to him because I wanted to ask him for an advice, a piece of advice. Because I had three alternatives, three former customers of mine, a CEO of a big consulting company, as the CEO of a very important telco company, and the CEO of a very important bank in Italy. They were asking me to join them as a chief innovation officer. But I had many doubts. So I asked Francesco, hey, can I meet you? Just to ask you for a piece of advice. So I went to meet him, I think the 3rd of September in 2014, wearing flip-flops and a t-shirt, and people didn't want to let me enter also in Enel. They thought I was wrong, that I could have a meeting with the global CEO with flip-flops and t-shirt. No? And they were surprised that the CEO could admit to meet a so strange guy. But he said, okay, no, he's right. He has a meeting with me. So I asked Francesco, hey, what do you suggest to go? Because I have these three alternatives. And we were working together. We were discussing together. And after he was looking at me, and he showed to me a report. This report, I have done this report, I written this report 3 years before, depicting and describing why the innovation at Enel could be a failure if they didn't change a lot of stuff. And I have proposed these changes in 10 steps. And I said, were definitely right. You have highlighted all the failures, of the reasons of failures in this company of the innovation. And he asked me, why don't you join us to fill the gap, all the 10 steps to make this journey together on filling the gap on the 10 steps and switching the innovation of Enel into something better? Okay, just to be clear, Enel had very talented and innovative people working at Enel. But unfortunately, the governance, the innovation management was, from my point of view, not right. Because the innovation management can influence the results of the people. And if the people are brilliant, as they were, without me, if the people are so smart, but they are not comfortable in the governance, they are not helped enough by the organization, unfortunately, the organizations can make a format C to their brains. This is what it was happening to them, to some of them, with a closed innovation ecosystem. So I decided to join, and I sincerely thank very much, many times a year, Francesco Starace for having offered to me this opportunity, because I always say, no CEO, no party.
So that is very interesting, and I had the chance of meeting Starace as well. It was a really important signal when he was promoted from being the head of the renewables division of Enel to be the group CEO. Because I don't know how many other global energy companies are run by someone who is evidently and historically at his roots so passionate about renewables. Now, your title is CIO, but instead of being the Chief Innovation Officer, you are the Chief Innovability Officer. And I searched in Google, and if I eliminate from the search your name and Enel, there is nobody else who is claiming that title, basically. I mean, yes, there are 76 results, and probably half of them are still associated to you through a colleague or something. So probably this means that this concept of innovability deserves some explanation. Can you tell us what it means, and why did you choose that title?
Okay, I've been appointed as Chief Innovation and Sustainability Officer in the year 2014. Why? Because we think that innovation is a tool, but the aim is the sustainability of the company. If you don't innovate, you die. So it's impossible to keep alive without innovation. So innovation is the tool, but the real aim of the company is to be sustainable. Sustainable means that the company can survive. But sustainability, our concept of sustainability comes from a Latin origin, from Pierpaolo Pasolini. He was able to distinguish growth and development on a side and progress on the other side. Development refers just to economic indicators. Progress refers to economic, social, environmental, and cultural indicators. So we think that if we don't create value with the communities where we work, if we don't destroy, if we don't destroy this common house that is the earth, we can be sustainable. If we create a better social conditions for our colleagues, for our stakeholders, for our suppliers, if we do this, we can survive. And on the other side, to do this, we need to innovate. And if you look at if you search Pasolini and Progresso and Sviluppo, you can find a nice video. Progresso and Sviluppo. Yeah, this is the difference between growth and progress. This is very interesting because he was explaining this difference, and some artists very famous at that time, like Moravia, were laughing in front of him. But this difference is very, very important. And also in the Laudato Si of the Pope, I think that there is clear this distinction, this difference, because growth is just economic. Progress refers to the whole human experience. We want to create a brighter future. We want to create a sustainable progress. This is our purpose. Why do we exist? To create a brighter future and to create a sustainable progress. To do this, we must respect communities where we are. But to do this, we must find a lot of social innovations to help them. So let's try to talk concretely on a real innovation. If we limit the costs of renewables, are using technologies, are we doing innovation? Yes, we are using technologies to reduce the cost of renewables. Great. But is this sustainability? Yes. We are reducing the cost of renewables and we are increasing the acceptance and the diffusion of renewables. So how can you distinguish the good innovation aimed at a better world and sustainability? So innovation is the tool. We have reduced the cost of renewables in the last 5 years, more or less of the 60%. So reducing the cost of renewables allowed us to sell more renewables instead of fossil fuels. In countries like in Brazil, where they launch tenders and they say, okay, I want 200 megawatts. It doesn't matter if you produce these megawatts with coal, with gas, with wind, or whatever. But we need 200 megawatts. And we assign the tender to the company that is proposing to us the lowest cost. So we have won many tenders proposing wind blades instead of gas turbines, instead of coal plants, because we have worked before on innovation. But if we didn't work on innovation, we couldn't win these tenders. So there is a strong link between innovation and economic results, innovation and environmental sustainability in this case. And after, while we were building up the plants, we were involving communities, with social innovations, helping them to get value from our activities. I give you an example. After that, we have installed photovoltaic panels or wind blades. We have a lot of wood that we should dismantle, that we should, how could I say, eliminate. But we can use this wood as a gift to the communities, and we have helped them to treat this wood, transforming it into furnitures and selling those furnitures. And those former poor people have become little entrepreneurs. This is social innovation that is linked with the technology innovation that makes the world a better place and that distinguishes us. And that's why I'm leading innovation and sustainability. But we didn't want to just have these two terms, these two words combined. We wanted to create a new one because we want to push this concept into the world, saying, hey, to create a better place, you need innovation. And innovation, to be a tool for the progress, should be aimed at a better world. So we have invented this innovability concept. But there is another chief innovability officer in Italy, my friend from Mediolanum, Oscar de Montigny.
Okay.
If you look for Oscar de Montigny, he calls himself sometimes chief innovability officer.
I know Oscar for sure. Yes.
You know him?
Yeah.
I was in New York, and I have met a person. I didn't know this person. He came to me and he said, I am the CEO of the largest worldwide company selling, I don't remember the name of the product, but just a product that is able, that is used in the pharma industry, and their income is 8 billion. And he was looking at me and he said, I want to meet you because you are Mr. Innovability. And we have the first chief innovability officer in Brazil. And, nice. They are selling just this, I don't remember the name of this product, that is very, very common and used in the pharma industry. But after, if I remember it, I will share with you. But so there is another example. But the reality is that many companies have copied us. If you look at Iberdrola, and you look for Chief Innovation and Sustainability Officer of Iberdrola, you will find a company that has copied us because they have the Chief Innovation and Sustainability Officer of Iberdrola. That makes more or less my job at Iberdrola, that is an innovative company. Agustin Delgado, and is the person that is a peer of mine, making the same job of mine, and probably they've copied this new organization that has not been invented by me, but it was an intuition of Francesco Starace.
So I showed the stock price because what you say would be 1,000 times harder were it not that it seems to be working from a financial point of view as well.
Yeah.
Because the stock price has quadrupled over the course of the past 5 years. Sorry, doubled, not quadrupled. Doubled over the course of the past 5 years. It recovered very nicely from the last few months upheavals, and this is great news. Now, my next question is.
But David, can I suggest you to check what is the market cap evolution of two companies that when I joined Enel, consultants told me that they were the leaders that I had to follow. So one is Centrica from UK. So if you check market cap Centrica from UK, you can analyze the evolution of the market cap Centrica. Centrica.
Okay, let's
see. Centrica market cap. Centrica, yes, and market cap. Okay. And you can see the 5 year. This is the normal journey of the market cap of the utilities all around the world. You can check with Eneco if you want. Eneco It was another leader that I had to follow according to the consultants, an eco market cap, and it's you can get the 5 years evolution, and this is they have lost more or less the 90% of the value, the 90% of the value,
and you attribute both because of their lack of understanding of renewables and sustainability.
Yeah, the same happened with different figures, but to E.ON, to EDF, and to other very big companies. If you look at our market cap and the EDF market cap, we were half of EDF when I joined Enel. Now we are double EDF, and EDF market cap evolution is another interesting picture. If you look at it, 5 years evolution, and the graph is terrific.
So my question is why sorry, let me, because I prepared it somewhere. Here it is. So the International Energy Agency for the past 20 years very publicly declared that the innovation and the ability to improve in, for example, photovoltaics is over. Because what they said year after year in their report is that the capacity of installing additional solar reached a maximum. According to their projections, for decades until 2040, it would remain basically constant. Every year, we could only add the same amount, and this amount that we could add in photovoltaics would never improve, would never increase. And as a consequence, policymakers, huge trillion-dollar sovereign wealth funds, investors in innovations such as venture capital firms backing startups, and many others have been gravely misled, because even if you could be wrong once, the International Energy Agency, which is one of the top authorities about energy in the world, has been wrong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 times, and now maybe 15 times, never changing their methodology, never changing their thinking. How is this possible?
Okay, it's incredible, because it's more or less the same story that I share with you with the mobile phone industry.
That's right. It's exactly the same.
Very famous consulting company, very famous. I could share. It was McKinsey.
Yeah.
It made 670,000 people as users in Italy in the year 2000. And unfortunately, but McKinsey changed his mind very, very, very fast. International Energy Association, unfortunately, has a DNA bias, because the majority of the analysts come from the fossil industry. So it's like if you ask a nice company, selling company, to evaluate the diffusion of Frigidaire, the first company that invented the fridge. They under-evaluated the diffusion of the fridge. They say, okay, we can increase the penetration of the market, we can raise the remuneration to our sales channels, and we can avoid we can stop the Frigidaire company. But it didn't happen, because when innovation comes, it's like a wind. You can cover your face, You don't perceive the wind, but the wind comes, and you remain alone. And the wind comes. It doesn't matter if you cover yourself. Unfortunately, these analysts were always underestimating the diffusion of renewables. But I want to share with you a story and why Enel, from my point of view, is so special. In the year 2009, so not so many years ago, a startup grew up in the Enel world. Their startup name was Enel Green Power. Do you know why this startup was born? Because nobody wanted to manage renewables at Enel, because they thought that renewables had no hope. So they
So
prefer.
I didn't know. Enel Green Power is 10 years old.
Yeah, it's just 11 years old. Yes, wow. In the year 2009, they prefer to say, "Hey, Francesco Starace, you will work on this," because nobody wants to work on this. You will do, but don't bother us. You will be out of the company with a company of yours, Enel Green Power, in a separated building, far from the headquarters, because please don't disturb us with this not interesting topic, renewables. You will be out of the power of the company, and unfortunately, the best managers will not work for you, because obviously we must focus on the core business, and the core business is not renewables. So the core business is fossil generation, distribution, and selling energy. Please don't bother us. So go to Via della Bufalotta, very far from the headquarters, and please, if you can, make a lot of business outside, abroad. That is better. No? And Francesco Starace was able to build up a group of startuppers. Okay, with the support of a big company, but not so much support, just the brand and just a financial credibility. But he had to manage a startup. So,
well, and the isolation was also an advantage, because the immune system of the large company couldn't kill all the business process innovation and all the new kind of thinking that he could introduce.
I definitely agree with you. You are always a very smart analyst of the innovation of a company. It was a plus because they were protected by the immune system of the company that could kill them, and they stayed on a side, and they have nurtured a new team of young people, very committed, very hungry, humble, and they were able in few years, from 2009 till 2014, so in 5 years, they have become the largest producer of renewables in the world. And what is amazing is that the former management team of the startup is now the management team of the whole Enel. So the former CFO is the global CFO. The former CEO is the CEO. The former head of audit is now the head of HR. And we have many. The former business development manager of renewables is now the CEO of renewables. And Francesco Venturini, who was in the United States as head of Enel Green Power in the United States, is now the head of NLX. So we have a team that is able to manage a startup, that has a startup attitude, that has a startup vocation, and that is able to understand the problems of a startup, and that is able to create real leadership based on value creation, based on behavior, not on blah, blah, blah chat, and a real leadership aimed at creating value in a concrete and effective way. This is the particular case of Enel, having a former startuppers as leaders of an 80 billion company.
And so there was a disruption from inside, and rebels took control of the castle. Now, renewables today are still a small percentage of the total energy equation,
Yeah.
But people don't understand that they are growing at an exponential rate, decreasing cost, the learning curve of the industry itself, the ability to produce and deploy at ever greater efficiency, as well as still blazing pace of technology, core technology innovation in the efficiency of solar cells and other factors. I remember a few years ago, I was at a meeting at Enel in Rome when a few colleagues of yours from the traditional coal-based energy production division declared that the cost of retrofitting coal plant that was necessary by law because of the Paris Accord was high enough so that it wouldn't be economically feasible or convenient, and it was better to close. And they estimated that about half of the coal plants of Enel would be closed. So if we put all of these together, when do you believe we will keep oil and the hydrocarbon industry for, pharmaceuticals or whatever they are good for and necessary for a rubber? There are things that are going to make it made of petroleum, plastics, and who knows what. But we will stop burning petroleum and coal, and we will look at that as something crazy. What is your feeling? And we can be wrong, and we will be wrong. But as you project these exponential trends, certainly it is not going to be in 100 years. It is going to be much sooner than not the traditional kind of thinking would imply.
Thanks to my friend David Orban, some years ago, I have learned that exponential phenomena are going to happen sooner than you can imagine. And thanks to you, I have studied several phenomena like this. And I think that it will happen before that we can imagine. And if we look at just at the renewables, only 5 years ago, when we canceled 5 billion that were present in the past 3-year plan that we have found, because in the year 2014, there were 5 billion to be invested into new fossil plants in the former plan that we have found at Enel, and we have canceled all of them. And the analysts were saying that we were crazy. Why do you give up? We weren't giving up. We were substituting, switching from fossil fuels to renewables. And after a couple of years, the same analysts were saying, you were a genius, because now the cost is better, the cost is lower. And we were saying we were not genius, we were not stupid before. We were just sustainable and innovable, because we considered innovation that could create a more sustainable investment for renewables. And if you look at the market caps that we have seen before, they demonstrate that the analysts have understood that more sustainable companies must get a better appreciation from the markets. And if you look at the market, our market cap and the market cap of the other big utilities that didn't marry this renewable revolution, they demonstrate that they underestimated the risk of not being sustainable, of not being innovative. And the risk is that you die. If you don't innovate, you die. It happens with our body. Every 2 hours, we change the skin of our lips. Every 20 days, we change the whole skin. And even every 15 years, we change the 99% of our cells. So the David Orban that I've met the first time is dead. And Ernesto Ciorra that you have met the first time is dead. Because we have changed us. And we are live. We are here talking, no?
And some of the consequences of this type of thinking is the ability to discover completely new markets.
Yeah.
Somebody with the old kind of mentality could never imagine the opportunity that this video represents. It is from a couple of years ago, and I remember seeing it. It is just wonderful. You see these dozens and dozens, 100 buses disembarking from the original shipment, and they are just lining up on the highway as they get into the city, and they are all electric buses. And
Yeah.
and they are supplied by Enel, specifically Enel X.
Yes.
And what is incredible is they are in Chile. So too many people, of course, don't know about so much of the world, and they tend to think about the world as backward or poor or unable to cope with the challenges. But innovation happens everywhere.
Everywhere.
So a city like Santiago, I assume, that embraces this kind of radical sustainability to purchase 100 electric buses for public transportation is wonderful, and of course it's great business as well. So I was very inspired when I saw this video. I remember.
I thanks David, because you anticipated me. The electric mobility is one of the exponential trend that is coming, and unfortunately, Italy is not as advanced as Chile for public transportation. This is the truth, because in Chile you have hundreds of electric buses running over the streets for public transportation. And we have supported the municipality of Santiago del Chile with a strong alliance that we have created in the year 2016 with BYD, that is a Chinese producer. I was looking for a European producer, but they were just chatting. When I asked, okay, do you have 100 buses with these features? They were saying no, but we will have. No. We want them now, not in the future. That's why we had to make this alliance with BYD, that is a fundamental partner. We are very proud of them. And I have visited the founder of BYD at his headquarters, and some colleagues of mine also were a little bit joking me. They were saying, okay, the electric buses, till we will sell just one electric bus, Volvo, Mercedes, and the other ones will have produced a better one rather than the Chinese one, they were saying to me. But the reality was that today we haven't affordable electric buses from such big automotive players from Europe. And the reality is that at that time, BYD was producing 6,000 buses a year. Now they are producing 6,000 buses a week.
So, yeah, and the adoption in many countries is just too timid, too slow, and there is no reason for this slowness. Yeah. For example, Bergamo, where I'm talking to you, and where I've been stuck for the past 5 months. Beautiful city, wonderful home. I'm very happy. But I am used to travel, so it is a very different way of being now. Bergamo built an experimental electric bus line 2 years ago. How long do they need the experiment to run before concluding that it is fine and they can extend it everywhere? Do they need 10 years? So it should be much more courageous, much more fanatic about the experimenting, measuring, deciding, and deploying at large scale. Talking about experiments, another fun thing that you did, which at the time was really mind-blowing, is your worldwide contest to crowdsource from all over the world, the people who made the best mistakes, and you called this contest "My Best Failure," and you flew people who were still not sure whether they would be fired at the end or their head would be cut off, but instead they received the prize in a wonderful event in Rome. So tell about this craziness.
My Best Failure is an international program aimed at rewarding people who made failures when they were trying to do something new, and if they share those failures. Why? Because we want to push people to do something new. And when you try to do something innovative, something new, you make failures. It's normal. Innovation is like playing poker, not like playing chess. If you can anticipate everything, you can play chess. This is the management of the company that can be compared to the chess. But innovation is like playing poker. Every time you get your cards and you have to pay for a bet. You bet and you get cards. You check the cards. If you don't find right cards, you have to discard very fast. The professional players, they play less than the not professional ones, because they know that they must play when they have the right cards. So we must play, we must try, fail and fail and fail, and discard the cards very fast and get into the new game. And we have found, when I joined Enel, I have found a company that was very innovative, but with a closed model. And on the other side, that was very hostile to the failure culture. They were not failure tolerant, because they say, okay, we must avoid failures. And they were right if you look at the importance of the energy service for the citizens. If you have people in a hospital, and if the hospital has not the provision of the electricity, people could die in the hospital. So for us, it's very important to avoid failures when we provide the citizens with the public service. But on the other side, we must fail many times, and much more than now also, even much more than now, when we try and we experiment new innovations.
So we have a couple of people in the comments. Amjad from Pakistan says hello, both in English and in his own language, maybe Urdu, I don't know. And then we have Calvin asking, why does every city need to do its own trial? This is a smart question, because intuitively you would think that once it works somewhere, it can work everywhere. And this may be partially true, but an important bottleneck is the regulatory environment. And in many ways, a lot of the battles for what country or what community can be most innovative will come from the speed of regulatory updating and upgrading. You mentioned electric transportation. One step further is self-driving electric transportation. And that is illegal everywhere in the world today. So what will be the countries that will win the huge disruption that will come from that, and the huge economic upside that will come from that? Those will be the countries that allow it fastest in terms of regulation. So the answer, at least from my point of view, and then I want to hear your opinion as well, is that what we call RegTech, regulatory technology, is today an important frontier of innovation in order to understand what society can embrace, and is a given society adaptable enough to go as fast as it could, or will it choose to stay behind and let the others make the mistakes but also reap the benefits?
I definitely agree with you that technology is the same everywhere and can be applied everywhere, but rules are definitely different in different countries. And unfortunately, in Italy, in some cases, are different in every single city. If you look, for example, at the management of the waste, no, we have different rules in every city. But okay, I definitely agree with you, and I think that the regulators can help innovation come true and can create a country innovation competitive advantage. Because if rules open the country to the new and pushes the new into the habits of customers, of citizens, this regulation creates a competitive advantage. On the other side, if everything is forbidden, unfortunately, companies must make POCs, attempts, trials, or even industrial projects abroad. I can give you two examples. When we were working on vehicle to grid, that has been called by the Time magazine as one of the most important disruption in the automotive industry, we were forbidden to make attempts in Italy. And we had to do this in Denmark, where the Danish regulators asked us to work there, and they immediately prepare rules to make this vehicle to grid come true. And it was forbidden in Italy. It was allowed in Denmark. So we were doing it in Denmark. And it was funny because a very famous comedian now in politics, he was saying publicly, hey, Enel must copy what the Danish people are doing in Denmark. And we were saying to him, hey, we are doing it in Denmark. And he has asked some colleagues of him to check. And they went. And they came back saying, hey, Enel is doing this in Denmark. And he was surprised because it was true. But he couldn't imagine that something that was forbidden in Italy was allowed in Denmark, and that Enel, not the Danish utility, was doing it in Denmark. So regulation is very important to enable many innovations. On the other side, let's look at China. I'm not a fan of China for human rights protection. That, from my point of view, is a problem. But if you look at China, they didn't join the COP events for some years. They were not so fun of the climate defense, but they have helped the growth of the battery ecosystem. They are supporting the battery ecosystem. They are supporting electric mobility. They are pushing municipalities to buy only electric buses. They are pushing municipalities to accept only new electric taxis. So they are doing a magnificent work to push China on electric mobility, guaranteeing to China a competitive advantage. So if you compare them with the Italian government that is incentivizing the thermal cars, no, I think that Chinese government is doing a great job. So to be honest, the rules can help and the rules can stop innovation. So your topic is very important, very coherent with the aim that we are talking about, the diffusion of innovation, because rules can stop the diffusion of innovation or rules can enhance it.
Open innovation and helping the startup ecosystem is really very important. Is there a right way and a wrong way for a large company like Enel to engage with a small startup? Can a startup be at the same time excited and terrorized by the opportunity of working with Enel? How can the probability of positive outcomes for both be maximized? What are the recommendations that you can give for a startup to position itself so that it wouldn't be smothered by the giant?
First of all, I think that the company need the right cultural attitude towards startups. Being humble, being hungry. If you are hungry enough you are looking for ideas, proposals, technologies from anywhere. So from startups, from big players, from your suppliers, from independent inventors, from universities, from anywhere, because you're hungry. So you want to eat ideas. On the other side, you must be humble, thinking that even a small company can disrupt a giant, can kill a giant. So if you are humble enough, you listen to them. But the third ingredient that is very important is that the innovation management of a company must be structured. Because if you don't structure the innovation management, even if you find a great startup that could be useful for your company, but you have not anyone who has the task to analyze the offer of the startup, the task to adopt the service of the startup, to work with them, the task to scale up the solution provided by the startup if it's useful. If you have not these people with the right governance on an organized and planned process of innovation management, unfortunately, launching challenges involving startup is a nightmare for them, could be a nightmare for the company, and a waste of time for everybody. So before working with the startups, we started in 2015. We were working for some months in 2014 only to be prepared to work with them, to adapt our innovation management, having innovation managers all around the company. We have innovation managers in generation, distribution, in countries, in functions, in every area of the company, that there are people working on innovability, bettering, innovating for a better future and for a better, how could I say, to improve the KPIs of the function of the business line, of the markets where they work. So those people are committed on it. And we have people supporting them, putting them in contact with the startups. I can share with you some figures. More or less 9,000 startups analyzed in the last 5 years. 9,000. More or less 700 projects launched. 350 projects launched successfully. So more or less 250 projects without any success. It's good. And more than 60 startups scaled up at global level. I can share with you some story. Nozomi Networks. Now Nozomi Networks is in the right up quadrant of Gartner. Nozomi Networks is one of the leaders at global level of cybersecurity. The founder, Andrea Carcano, came to me when he was an employee of Enel. And he asked me, hey, I have these ideas. I think that we can do this and this. 0 revenues, 0 employees, just an idea. And he founded the Nozomi Network a couple of months before, saying, hey, I have these strange ideas about cybersecurity. And say, hey, if you are able to implement 1/3 of what you say, you will become a billionaire, or you will become a CEO of a startup that will be a unicorn. And we helped him on defining the solution, scaling up the solution. We tested them in 5 plants, after in 100 plants. After we scaled them up to our grids, we helped them to find the right VCs, because there is plenty of VCs that want to work with startups that are working with Enel. And we have a lot of alliances, 48 allies all around the world. They have already 110 billion in asset under management. So there is plenty of money available for them. And Andrea Carcano followed us. He was humble as we were humble. And thanks to Yuri Rasega and his team, we were supporting him, explaining what he could better. And he was humble. He was listening to us. It was a win-win approach. And now Nozomi Network is a multinational company active in 41 countries, if I remember well. The value of this company is more than 350 million of dollars.
And they raised over $50 million in capital.
Yeah. And they are active in United States and in other 40 countries. We are very proud of it, because the president of Italy, the Italian Republic, Mattarella, visited them in San Francisco, and they shared with Mattarella just 3 slides. one was the dream and the team, no? The second one was who made it possible. And they written Enel and Ernesto Ciorra and the names of the team that were that helped them. And the third slide was who we are now: 41 countries, multinational, and with a heart in Italy, hiring people in Italy, and having activities all around the world with an headquarters in this is the movie, no? Okay. When Mattarella joined Andrea Carcano, this is Andrea Carcano, and if you look at my WhatsApp picture, there is a picture with the President Mattarella and Andrea Carcano and Francesco Starace. I was obviously in this meeting, attending this meeting, and this is a real example of what we do. You can see me with a tie in the video. It's incredible, but I was wearing a tie for the president, and it's incredible. But we have many stories like this. We have you can see in the first row there is Francesco Starace.
Yeah.
We have stories like this with the Atonet, with Hermes cybersecurity, and many other startups, 60 of them that we helped scaling up all around the world. We are very proud of it. This is not philanthropy. We did because they were helping us to make innovation come true. The startups go faster rather than a big company. The startuppers are hungry. We are hungry. They can be talented too, and we can work with a win-win approach to help them grow up and to be innovative from our side and more sustainable.
Wonderful. Ernesto, good luck for the next phases of growth of sustainability and renewables at Enel, in the discovery of new markets like electric transportation, but others too. Good luck with...
For everybody, it's very important. You can check our technological and social challenges on openinnovability.com. Yes. www.openinnovability.com is our digital door. Everybody, a big company, a small startup, an innovator, an inventor, or a PhD, or anybody could have a direct dialogue with the person that will evaluate his proposal in the Enel ecosystem. This is an open digital door. Everybody can subscribe and can propose his or her ideas to us, having a feedback. This is a community of 400,000 people with members from 97 different countries. So I hope that people who are watching this video will join this community, will propose ideas, and we reward those ideas. We reward those ideas with the ideas with money. But the plus is that we can involve startups in our projects, we can help them, and we can scale them up. You can see, are you a small, medium company? Are you a startup? Are you an enterprise? Are you a big corporation? And there is the dedicated journey for you, and even NGOs can propose to us social innovation projects to better the conditions of the communities where we operate.
Wonderful. Ernesto, this was really great, and congratulations for everything. And as I said, good luck for the next steps, because transforming the world to be based on renewables and sustainability is something that will benefit everybody, and it is going to be great business. So it will be good for the world, good for the people, but also good financially. Thank you very much for being on Searching for the Question Live.
If every company adopts an SDG, can better the world and can create a better world with better financial results, because the investors will appreciate if you adopt an SDG and transform it into part of your business or into your core business. Ciao.
Wonderful.
Thanks, David.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for being on Searching for the Question Live today. I am looking forward to have you in our next episode. And if you like this content, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Uh, I also have an Italian YouTube channel if you speak the language. You can find it on davidorban.com/YouTube Italiano. And you are also welcome to become a fan, a supporter, a sponsor, or a benefactor on patreon.com/David Orban. Thank you, and see you on the next episode of